On the news this morning, FIRS to appeal Rivers Court judgment on VAT. Rivers State government declares 3 people wanted as agrieved flyover construction workers continue protest in Port Harcourt. Scores of pensioners in Rivers State protest non-payment of gratuities. Federal government approves national policy on 5G network. On the foreign scene, China offers $31 million in emergency aid to Afghanistan. I am Ifiemi Andrew. The Federal Inland Revenue Service FIRS says it has appealed the judgment of the Federal High Court in Rivers, which held that the agency does not have the right to collect VAT in the state. FIRS Group Lead Special Tax Operations Matthew Bonjugbola in a news conference said it is the exclusive right of the agency to collect VAT in the country. Bonjugbola explained that the law mandating the FIRS to collect VAT seeks to protect businesses from multiple taxation. Earlier, the service wrote the National Assembly seeking the inclusion of VAT collection in the exclusive legislative list. Recall that the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt restrained the FIRS from collecting VAT and personal income tax in Rivers State. VAT is a consumption tax paid when goods are purchased and services are rendered. It is charged at a rate of 7.5%. Yesterday, Governor Nyesom Wike met with business owners in the state. At the meeting, the governor said the state government will not hesitate to sanction any organization that pays VAT to the FIRS.
The chairman of RRS is there, and the Commissioner of Finance, they are all here. From this September, must collect all our VAT. If you like, play a kind of your pranks. You know, we're heading for the advice from our head office. You also listen to the office by the time I seal up the premises. The banks, all those pranks people are playing, better tell the big men, I will shut them down. So please tell the authorities to go and pay to our revenue board, which of course you have been told how to do it. If FIRS are saying that, look, we have appealed in order, stopping Rivers State government from collecting the money.
The governor also said that the state government will institute legal means to recover backlogs of VAT that have been collected by the FIRS in Rivers State.
The point is that the law says the VAT should be collected by the state. It doesn't matter whether it's laughing. We're even going back to collect the one they were taking before. We're compact. They have to pay us back. But the state government will collect all that is due us within the confinement of the law. It's important.
Governor Wike, however, called on the federal government to allow the states be independent as enshrined in the Constitution.
The point is that the law says the VAT should be collected by the state. It doesn't matter whether it will affect state A or state B. What is the position of the law? And so we have challenged it. And we have no apologies to anybody. We have no apologies to anybody. And the problem in this country, nobody wants to come out because they will come after you. Some states get 2.something billion a month. They say they have no revenue to collect. Why? You have revenue to collect, my friend. You have revenue. Look at the law. Look at what the law says. Remove yourself from this appendage status. No state that cannot stand on this way in this country. It's just the opportunity to harness the potentials we have.
Meanwhile, the Rivers State House of Assembly has passed the Rivers State Withholding Tax Bill 2021 into law. This was after members of the House unanimously voted in favor of the bill. Speaker of the House, Ikunyo Waji Bani, in his ruling, said the bill will create employment for the youths and also attract more developments in the state.
The time has come for certain laws as contained in the Constitution of Nigeria to be tested against the backdrop of a democracy that is maturing. And what we are doing as an assembly, we are not deviating from the values of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The House adjourned sitting to September 16. In another development, some Rivers State civil service pensioners protested yesterday over unpaid gratuities and pension arrears. The retirees who marched from the state secretariat to around Government House carried placards with inscriptions like pay our consequential adjustments. Demand for immediate payment of balance pension from 2012 till date. Pay the families of dead pensioners their death benefits, amongst others. Leaders of the protesters, Lucky Ati, spoke to newsmen.
You can imagine the fate of a pensioner that is not paid is gratuity. What do you do when you are not paying gratuity? Not only gratuity, there is the issue of pension arrears because government did not payroll us when we retired. And when they started paying us in 2019, what about the other arrears of pension that they have not paid to us? It is our statutory right. What we expect the government to do is the chief executive officer of the state. The state money is in sand. There is budgetary provision every year for payment of pension. It is not his money. Issue from that government money, pay us our dues.
Addressing the protesters, the Rivers State Commissioner of Police, Ebuka Friday, assured them that their grievances will be forwarded to the appropriate authorities for prompt attention.
I've listened to your representatives. There were more things you just came from us. They have articulated all your grievances. I feel for you. I'm aware that some of you retired as 2012, 2014 up to now. You are not receiving your gratuity. Almost all of you are the age of 60. And when you reach 60, you need money to maintain yourself. And when you are 60, you have strength to work very well. So government should be looking after you as senior citizens. I've listened to all the and I want to assure you I will take it up from this place. I'll make sure I carry your grievances, all you have articulated, and pass it on to the governor to look into your plight.
Some of the aggrieved retirees also spoke to newsmen.
They should try to pay us arrears of pension and also gratuity. That's what we are talking about. Other states could still have paid. Other people are paid. What make it not to pay?
The government have been promising us. They have been promising a lot. And the government is not fulfilling the promise. They should pay us because some of us have been dying because of something. We have suffered a lot because of no money.
Our grievances is non-payment of pension arrears and gratuity from 2012 to date. 2021. Several efforts have been made, no effort from the governor's side.
In the meantime, Rivers State government has declared 3 people wanted for alleged criminal activities and harassment of contractors, particularly Julius Berger Nigeria PLC in the state. A statement by the governor's special assistant media, Kelvin Eberi, listed the wanted men to include Gift Elenwo, Chiboso Glory Ejeku, and Tambari Godwin Bara. Recall that workers at the various ongoing flyover construction sites in Port Harcourt continued their protest as they gathered around waterlines demanding better pay from Julius Berger. One of the protesting workers said police attempted to disrupt their march, harassing and shooting into the air.
We meet Commissioner of Police yesterday. He come and meet us at Julius Berger main yard at Ayamakara at Garage there. So when the Commissioner of Police come, so he now took 5 people to government house. And yesterday government gave them appointment to come today by 11 to 12. So this morning we are preparing to go to government house. Police people just come from nowhere, harass us, started shoot, go on the air.
Reacting to this, the Rivers State Ethnic Youth Leaders Coalition, Legbosi Yamabana, condemned the arrest and called on Rivers State Police Command to release all Julius Berger construction workers that were arrested during their protest.
Every Nigerian citizen reserves the right to associate, protest, and participate in public processions and demonstrations. In the interest of democracy and professionalism, we therefore urge the Nigerian police to release those arrested. In same breath, we call on the government of the states to lift the declaration on those declared wanted. Julius Berger, on their part, should be careful not to throw Rivers State into another run of avoidable crisis.
A total of 169 inmates in the Port Harcourt Correctional Center who committed minor offences have been released by 3 chief magistrates from the Rivers State Judiciary. Their release followed a directive by the Chief Judge of Rivers State, Justice Simeon Amadi, that magistrates should carry out jail delivery. Some of the newly released inmates expressed gratitude to the State Chief Judge for the pardon, even as they promised not to go back to crime. Meanwhile, a statement signed by the acting Chief Registrar of the Rivers State High Court, David Uhua Maduenyi, stated that the Chief Judge will, after the resumption of High Court from annual vacation, start another round of jail delivery exercise. The president of Ijaw National Congress (INC), Benjamin Okaba, has urged the presidency to prosecute any individual and companies indicted in the NDDC forensic audit report submitted 6 days ago. Professor Okaba told correspondent Shebi Ruwari that this is another integrity test to President Muhammadu Buhari's administration.
We will not be happy if the names of and companies of everybody involved, irrespective of class, creed, and connection to the poor corridors of power, be made public. We also demand that wholesome treatment be given. We don't want it to be selective. There shouldn't be sacred cows. And those persons so involved in one form of corruption or the other, of maybe abandonment of project or cutting corner, should be prosecuted publicly. If Mr. President fails to prosecute the people for one reason or another, big question on the integrity status of Mr. President. I'm sure they will avoid it.
The INC president also expressed some reservations on the manner the NDDC audit report was conducted and submitted to the federal government.
What we are concerned about is one, the long 16 months of RIGMA ruling, the manner in which the report was submitted, and also the fact that the report is not made whole and public, meaning that there are possibilities of the report not serving its main objective of bringing some kind of reform and also helping to safeguard if there are some ill practices curtailed.
Professor Benjamin Okaba also advised the president to direct his searchlight on other federal agencies.
On the province of the federal government, that immediately the report is submitted, the NDDC board will put in place. We are so disappointed that in the first place that the audit report prevented setting up of the board, but now the report has been submitted. So what is keeping the board from being constituted? I want to belong to those class of people who believe that the forensic audit needs to be immediately audited. We made during the presentation. It shows that there is so much that we need to know. Yes, Mr. President, you stamp his feet.
Still ahead, federal government approves national policy on 5G network for Nigeria's digital economy. Stay tuned.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
An environmental activist, Celestine Akbobari, says the federal government should exonerate the Ogoni 9 and others killed for protesting against oil exploration before it contemplates the resumption of oil exploration in Ogoni land. Mr. Akbobari made this call during a one-day event organized by civil society organizations in Nigeria to discuss the resumption of oil extraction in Ogoni land, the recently passed Petroleum Industry Acts and Shell divestment plans in the country.
No apology has been rendered for the destruction of their environment, the killing of their people, the loss of livelihoods, and destruction of their villages. To assume that extraction of oil can commence while these issues remain in the front corner is to be naive at best and cruel at worst. It is the demand of the Ogoni people that a first step towards demonstrating goodwill is to exonerate the Ogoni people who were sentenced to death and subsequently executed by the Kangaroo Tribunal. So that's the first thing that we want them to do.
He said until the federal government carries out the decommissioning of oil facilities in the area, no Ogoni person will allow resumption of oil exploration in the area.
The recommendations of UNEP that government invited to assess our environment, one of the key recommendations there was that they should decommission, meaning that all the pipelines in the soil of Ogoni should be removed. And while we were waiting for that action to be taken, people don't sleep again. And for those who don't know, I can tell you that there are those who have vowed that over their dead body will there be resumption of operation Ogoni. And I'm among those people because there were legitimate demands in the Ogoni Bill of Rights.
The executive chairman of Ichie local government area, Obina Anyanwu, has flagged off the construction of Obibi Central Market and a vigilante office in Obibi community after 22 years of no project in Obibi Akukabi Ward 9. Speaking during the flag-off ceremony at Obibi community on Wednesday, Dr. Anyanwu reiterated that his administration is committed to uplifting the socio-economic life of Ichie people. He said the people of Obibi community deserve more government attention for sustaining the relative peace his administration initiated in the community during his first term.
Obibi people, you have made me proud. So I see no reason why I should not come to Obibi land to do this market. You deserve more than this for agreeing to sustain the peace in Obibi land. We all know how Obibi used to be, but today look at the crowd in Obibi land. Obibi is peaceful, and Obibi will continue to be peaceful. We will not have the old Obibi again, but we will have a better Obibi. We have just started, and by the grace of God, more will come.
Performing the flag of ceremony, an elder statesman and ex-official PDP South Zonal Office, Sir Silva Amadi, commended Dr. Anyanwu for his responsive and responsible style of leadership and replicating the giant strides of Governor Nyesom Wike.
Our chairman has gotten so many names in a chair. In fact, another one has come today. OBHA. And I'm not surprised that those who don't like him, when they see what he's doing in a chair, they'll be forced to like him. I am not also surprised that he is replicating what the Executive Governor of Rivers State, Chief Barrister Nyesom Wike, is doing in the Rivers State. Trying to make every word of a chair to turn to a construction site.
The Obibi Central Market, when completed, will have 100 open stalls, an open hut, 2 office space, 4 toilets, and a vigilante office. Earlier, the Achie Council Chairman Obina Anyanwu visited internally displaced persons in Afara community who left their homes as a result of spilled crude from a fallen tanker along the Afara-Mba Road last week. The victims who received palliatives from Dr. Anyanwu commended him for his kind gesture.
I want to appreciate sincerely the local government chairman for the show of love. He has demonstrated that we have government.
I'm happy for what chairman brought for the women. It shows that he loved the women of Umukurug, Afra community.
I can see the number of bags of rice, the indomie, tomato, salt. These are, I think, necessary things that the women, the children, the elders need now for survival.
We thank Mr. Chairman for the things he gave to us. We say, may God Almighty bless him. Bless the women also who will commission what he has brought for us.
The federal government has approved the national policy on 5th generation 5G networks for Nigeria's digital economy. Announcing this to State House correspondents, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Isa Pantami, said the policy takes immediate effect.
I presented before the Federal Executive Council, which has also been approved after deliberation. That is the national policy on 5th generation networks for Nigeria's digital economy, the national policy on 5G. So that policy has been approved by the Federal Executive Council today. And furthermore, the policy discusses the benefits to be attained through the deployment of 5G in Nigeria. It will open many opportunities economically, academically, and even in health sector.
He said the national policy was developed over a period of 2 years after an extensive stakeholder engagement, which includes critical review and studies of the likely health and security implications of deploying 5G in Nigeria.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
China has pledged $31 million worth of aid to Afghanistan, including food supplies and coronavirus vaccines. The aid comes as Beijing said it was ready to maintain communication with the Taliban government. It added that the establishment of the new interim government was a necessary step to restore order in Afghanistan. China has also been vocally critical about the U.S. withdrawal, saying its troops had wreaked havoc in Afghanistan. On the news this morning, you heard that FIRS has said that it has appealed the Rivers Court judgment on VAT. The Rivers State government has declared 3 people wanted as aggrieved flyover construction workers continued protest in Port Harcourt. Scores of pensioners in Rivers State have protested non-payment of gratuities. The federal government has approved the national policy on 5G networks for Nigeria's digital economy. On the foreign scene, you heard that China has pledged $31 million worth of aid to Afghanistan, including food supplies and coronavirus vaccines. The news was edited by Martha Okiri. Contact our newsroom on 0818-900-0017. For more stories, visit www.nigeriainfo.fm. Cloudy weather expected in Port Harcourt this morning. My name is Ifiemi Andrew. Good morning and thank you for your time.